There's a reason we say side by side. Now, to really grasp and understand what that message or that mantra really means, often you're going to have to go through tough times, go through hardships. And it's not just on a football field, it goes way beyond that. Now, being a footballer, being a part of Collingwood, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether you're a staff member, whether you're a fan, it's not easy work, right? You've got a lot of people, a lot of eyeballs, a lot of criticism, people ready to put us down as soon as the opportunity comes. And so when we go through tough times, when we go through hardships, when things aren't going our way, whether it's on the football field or outside the football field, we have to have something to believe in, an identity that represents us to our very, very core. And that is Collingwood, side by side, Floreat Pika. It's not just a saying. It's not just a simple thing to just say, side by side and walk off it like it's nothing. No, it represents something deeper. There's a deeper meaning that goes way beyond the surface. And often it is through the hard times that we start to understand it. So what does it really mean? Well, I can only tell you what it means for me. And, going through my own hardships in life and going through my own struggles in life, there are things at some point in life you go through that test you, that test your character, that test your being, and you're sort of put in a position where, you want to align correctly with what you value. And so what do I value? I value the heart and soul. I value believing in goodness, despite what bad or evil might be surrounding you, despite what criticism might be around you, and despite all the sort of impulsive reactionary stuff that happens. And so coming to the club that I've always loved, during those after those struggle periods, we had a great coach who came along in Craig McRae, and who started to really show and understand that Collingwood's not just a football club. It's not, when our identity isn't just what goes on the football field or what the footy club represents. It goes deeper than that. It's the side by side mantra. So what does it mean? So for me, it represents the heart and soul, right? During dark times, when things are black, where the heart is going through dark times and there's just, you feel sort of trapped by that, you find the light, which is the soul, which is the white, which is the goodness that surrounds you, and the inner guide that we all need to sort of reach. And so going through my own tough times and finding that sort of link and sort of understanding, and we have a coach who really believed in that and drove that message. And even though I've always loved Collingwood, this was during a time where I really, really connected with the club because it meant more. It didn't just mean, we're just a football club, we're based or judged solely on the results that happen on the field. No, it gave you something, a higher purpose to believe in when you supported Collingwood. And some people, some Collingwood fans believe in that. Some Collingwood fans understand that, and some don't. And it's not about judging. It's not about blaming or criticizing or anything like that. And that's the whole point. It's that when things are happening, when things aren't going right, you have to look inwards. You have to find that light within yourself, that soul inside of you that guides you through these tough times. And so Floreat Pika, long may the Magpie flourish. That's what it's about. It's about staying connected, staying balanced. When your heart and soul are balanced, when the black and white is united as one, then nothing can stand in your way. That's how you build character. That's how you build resilience. That's how you build belief. And so when things are going wrong, it's not the time to go into that darkness of blame, of criticism and all these, reactionary emotions and impulses that often comes over our hearts. It's about sitting with it, not to judge, not to blame, but to be accountable. Hold yourself accountable, right? That's what the soul does. That's what the light, that's how we reach the light. It's accountability. We've got to be accountable for our actions. And it doesn't mean going, oh, I did this wrong or that wrong. It's about understanding the lessons, right? Through our mistakes, through our hardships, through bad results, or through anything in life that we might go through. That's a chance for us to sit down and really reflect on who we are, where we went wrong, but also be understanding, right? We do these things not to criticize ourselves, not to blame, but to understand, to have better understanding, and more importantly, to grow and be a better version of ourselves. And I look at the club, I look at who represents the club. Craig McRae is a great example of someone that really believes in that. And so he's captured that image so well, and it's helped my relationship with the club grow even more. And it's something that, not just for the players, but for the fan base to really get behind. And so when we have bad results, when things don't go our way, a lot of fans get into this sort of mind space of blame. Oh, this person's not good enough, or this is not right, or how we play is not right. And look, don't get me wrong, there's a place for that, right? Emotions are just reactionary, and sometimes it's good to feel something rather than nothing at all. But there's also support, right? To understand the psychology of getting behind the club, right? Getting behind the players, getting behind the team. And it's not blind support, but it's understanding why we say side by side, all right? What does it really represent, because there's the name Collingwood, but there's the message, the stronger message behind Collingwood, which is side by side. And that's the most important thing that we can understand, not just as fans, but for the players as well, that you're representing something that is very rare, because while every club has their own identity, our identity separates us from the rest, because it goes way beyond just what we do on a football field. All right, it goes to life. It goes to the moments in life where we're tested and we build ourselves. And sometimes we can, falling in life and making mistakes and errors and all these things, that's just a part of life. That's just something that will happen. So whether it's missing a goal from 5 meters or 10 meters or whatever it might be, or making mistakes in your personal lives, it's in those moments that is most crucial to build resilience, not through criticizing, but through understanding what went wrong. Again, going back to accountability, to sort of have that balance between your heart and your soul, where you're not blocking the connection there, and to keep yourself as one. And it's not easy. It's the hardest thing to do in life. And that's why I love it, because it represents more than just what we do on a football field. It represents more than, just simple things in life that sort of are surface level, and to connect with that and to understand what it means, not just for the people that work at Collingwood, but for the fans, for everyone to understand what it means and why we stick side by side, right? And that's how we stand. And when we fail to do that, as players, as fans, when we fail to do that, not just for each other, but for our own self, that's how we fall. That's how we fall. And falling is a given in life. We have to accept that. But there's a way to fall with grace, and there's a way to fall without grace. And without grace means that we'll lose the light, the white and the black and white. So whether you're a player representing the black and white, or whether we're fans representing the black and white, it's something we need to do together. It's something we need to connect with on an individual level and on a collective level. Because if we lose that identity, we lose what Collingwood represents. And, some people might cringe at it, and some people might go, oh, it's not that deep. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But I sure as hell know that in life, yes, footy is just footy. But when you have something to believe in that's greater than yourself, when you have a way of looking at things that sort of gets you out of dark times and sort of makes you connect with something deeper, right? A spiritual connection rather than just a material connection, right? And often that's the case is with sports and all these different things, a lot of it is a material connection. But, whether it's cringe to think of it as spiritual or not, it's something that I value, and it's something that anyone that supports the club, anyone that plays for the club, anyone that works for the club needs to take with them, because that is what makes us separate. That's what separates us from everyone else around us, right? That's the identity that we have. And like I said, every team, every club has their own identity, but we need to stick true and honest, and not just believe in this way of thinking, but to actually live it. And to and we're not perfect. No one is expecting perfection. In fact, it's the opposite of that. It's to believe in something like this, to believe in side by side, to believe in the balance of your heart and soul during the tough times. That is what matters most, right? It's easy to chant Collingwood when we're up and we're winning, but how hard is it to chant side by side when we're down, when things aren't going our way, when you can't yet praise the name of Collingwood, but you can praise, or you can shout out the message of Collingwood. So then, when we're down, when we're in the gutters, it's easy to chant Collingwood when we're winning, but when we're in the gutters, we need to find a way to connect with each other, to remind ourselves of the message. Because when we get the message right, that's when we can praise the name. When we get the message right, we're able to connect, we're able to deliver, we're able to persevere through whatever tough time we're going through. And then from there, we take it one step at a time. And then when we're winning, when things are turning, and eventually it will turn, it might be a gradual, it might be a quick shift, however it might look, that's when we chant the name Collingwood. That's when you can praise the name. But not before we understand the message, not before we praise the message and we deliver it with genuine sincerity and with belief. And that's what it means for me to support Collingwood Football Club. And that's what side by side means. I love this club. I love everything. The good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. It's not easy being a Collingwood supporter, but it's something, it gives you something to really believe in. And whether it's temporary, whether it's permanent, to understand that and to stick by it, to stick by the side-by-side way of looking at things. That is the most important thing. And believe me, it's once you connect with it on a spiritual level, you realize it doesn't just apply for what's on the football field. It applies for life, and it gives you a centered way of looking at things, and not a quick, yes or no, ironically black or white way of looking at things, where you understand everything is a process. Everything is about growing. Everything is about becoming a better version of yourself, learning from your mistakes, improving and finding that light within you. Because sometimes we get so stuck in the darkness that we feel like that's all there is. But when we find the light, when we connect with our soul, when we stay patient, we persevere and have that faith, things just start to get better. Things start to work in your favor. But when we get into our heads, into the pressure of things, and believe me, whether it's playing for Collingwood or even just being a Collingwood supporter, for the players, I feel for you. Because what they go through on the field and off the field is really, really tough to bear. But believe in yourself. Believe that we have the best coach and we have the best people working and supporting you. And whether the fans are criticizing or whether the fans are getting behind you, all that matters is you get behind yourself. You understand yourself, connect with yourself, look at yourself, look inwards. Because being an athlete is a very, very tough thing. Because sometimes we think, we're purely our happiness or our content, how content we are is based on the results on the field, but it's not. The truth is, it's not. All that is temporary. And if you live your life as an athlete thinking that all you need to do is to just get it right on the field and that's it, then at some point you're going to learn hard lessons. You're going to learn really, really hard lessons because it requires so much more depth, right? There's something you got to believe in. There's a purpose that's got to drive you, whether it's faith, whether it's family, whatever it might look like. You need to have that. It's not enough to just be an athlete and go out there and play football. You need to find a sort of spiritual connection, not just in the world, but with yourself, right? To sit by yourself and to sort of go through that dark night of the soul, whatever it might be called, and to understand yourself better and to grow as a player and to be the best version of yourself. Now, I don't know if any player will ever get a chance to watch this video, but I hope they do, because I really believe that the players need to always hear that. And sometimes, you might hear it from the coaches, but it's also important to hear it from fans and to understand why that connection to the club is so important to someone like me and to many, many other Collingwood fans. And also, more importantly, to do all these things, not just for us, not just for the fans to be happy or the coaches or your family, do it for yourself. Right? To be the best version of yourself, to represent yourself. And life is a process, right? You're not always going to get it right. And it's when we get it wrong, that's the most critical period to look inwards and go, what did I do wrong? How can I improve? Not to criticize, not to blame, but to understand yourself better and just grow a little bit more. Because none of us are the perfect version of ourselves. None of us are there, right? We're all progressing. It's a journey, right? It's a journey. The destination is not something to worry about. It's the journey. Get yourself right along the journey, and the destination will reveal itself, It's like trying to go through life thinking that all you have to do is reach that destination. It's as simple as that. But the truth is, if you only focus on the destination, the image is blurry. It's very blurry because, if you're not setting the path right, one brick at a time, you're putting your path in front of you. That's how life is. It's not, I can see the path and I can see the the finishing line, that's not realistic. That often will lead you into traps, not just in this world with other people, but with yourself, right? You can get ahead of yourself, or you can think that you've got it figured out, and it's that moment that's crucial. And it's sort of, we need to humble ourselves and understand that we're not perfect. All right, we're all trying to get better, and whether it's players, whether it's fans, whether it's on the footy field and how we support our club, or whether it's in life and in our personal lives, it's important to get it and to get this connection that we have to the club, and why Side by Side and Collingwood matters more than just a saying, more than just a footy club. It's all important, and it's all connected. It's all really interconnected, right? Because, like I said, it represents more than just a footy club. It represents a way of being, a culture, a mindset of growth, of progress, and delivering results, not just for the sake of it, but with purpose and understanding. And that's what it means to support Collingwood Football Club. And that's what Side by Side means to me. And I hope it means the same to you. And if it doesn't yet, I hope you find that way, because I love this football club. I love supporting club. I love supporting this club, and I love footy, because footy, like many things in life, teaches you a lot about yourself. Teaches you, whether you're a supporter, whether you're a player, you're learning about yourself. You're learning about how you handle relationships. You're learning about how you handle stressful moments. You're learning about all the different things, the itty bitties, right? Whether it's collective or on an individual personal level. It teaches you a lot, and everything has deeper meaning than we often like to think about. And so that's it. That's my message. That's what Collingwood means to me, and I hope it does the same to you. God bless. Have a good one. That's all from me.